go in there and I get my second shot.
Yeah.
And when I got the first shot, I was like, I was tired. You know, I was drained of energy, and then, and then like 2 days later or something, I had like a headache that forced me to stay at home from work. But other than that, it wasn't that bad. Then with the second one here, I go in, and like I'm taking off my jacket, and she's like, "Okay, do you want to be sitting or standing?" And I'm like trying to joke around, like, I think I'm a bad boy. I'm gonna stand up, and she's like, "Okay."
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, you clearly not in the mood for that." And then I get the poke, and then I've already discussed with my boss because like I was so like tired and out of commission last time. So I'm like, "Okay, listen, I'm just gonna go home. I'm not gonna go to work. I'm just gonna go home, and then I'm gonna rest. Then I'll work from home if need be."
Yeah.
And so as day goes by, I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling a little, tired, but that's about it. Then comes the evening, and I can just tell that I'm like sweating. But I'm at the same time I'm freezing. I'm feeling a little, like heavy, like my body's heavy. Mm-hmm. And then comes then when I had to go to bed, I am shivering. I am shaking. And I have 2 duvets, as we use in Denmark. Apparently you guys in America, you just like fucking sneak into a fucking envelope or some shit.
Like deadass, I'm sleeping on the couch right now because like my bed's so shitty. I need to buy a new one, but at the same time I don't want to invest in one because this house is gonna be like sold in 3 years. So
fair enough. But we have like duvets, I think that's how to say it. And so I take the normal one I usually sleep with, which is a slightly lighter one, and then I take the big heavy one. So I'm laying under 2 of these, and my bedroom is pretty small. So when I close the window on that place, it gets really warm really fast. And so I close the window, and I'm telling you, I'm shivering. My teeth are clattering because I'm so cold, and I'm under these 2 covers. Nothing. I'm laying there for like 2 to 3 hours. Nothing. I'm like like running my hand up and down my body, like trying to generate heat or something. Nothing. I remember like I couldn't have my hands outside of the covers, so I had to and so I couldn't read. So I was like, okay, let's put on an anime. So I started watching Fire Force.
Oh, hey.
And when I finally do fall asleep, I'm having the most nutsest fever dream about Fire Force, where I have made up an entire station where they have like the most hyper specific superpower, and I keep falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep, waking up, and every time that I fall back asleep, I'm back at the exact same dream, but at a different angle or something. Shit was wild. Then the day after, I wake up and I'm feeling like death. I honest to God at one point think maybe I should actually call the hospital. And normally I'm a guy where I was like, I'll just walk it off or something. But here I'm like, okay, this is bad, because at one point I wake up and I'm sitting in my shower under the running water. I'm like, how the fuck did I even get here? That's when I knew it was bad. And then all I had was like a couple of painkillers. I didn't have any medicine to lower the fever or anything. So I'm like, hey Dad, can you come bring me anything? Normally I'm not the type of person who asks for anything. So when my dad found out, oh, Lasse is actually asking for something, oh shit, this is serious. So he comes up, and when he sees me, he's legit as going, are you sure you don't want me to take you to the hospital because you look like death? I'm like, I'm fine. And then he brought me some soup and some yogurt, whatever, and some crisp and a sugary soda, because everything I drink is without sugar.
I getcha.
But he's like, sugar is gonna really just kick your shit into gear. And sure enough, the day after, I was feeling way better, but fuck me, it was touch and go for a moment the Wednesday, I think it was. So for those of you in the chat, or those of you listening to the podcast, that's why we didn't have a podcast, because I was dying.
Yeah, but you know what? You lived.
I lived.
You got your second shot, and you did not fucking die, and that's the most important thing we can do. And again, I people who know this, I had like my second shots, and I infamously didn't feel fucking shit after my first or second shots, and I had Pfizer. But to be fair, the reason that is because I paid my dues early. I paid off my student loans at the start of this pandemic bullshit. Like, I ended up being one of the first cases in Massachusetts getting caught with this because my dad brought it into the house. And then when he got found out, my mom and I got found out. So we all had to stay in the same house for 2 weeks, like quarantining. And this was before there was any vaccines even fucking available. So I had to just eat shit. And I want to tell you, the shit you've gone through is exactly what it's like to be on fucking the goddamn actual COVID, to actually being hit with it. Because it's basically the same shit. Although the worst part is, like, I have asthma, and like breathing problems are like bad in my family. And we were told by like our doctor when this shit was going on, we were being like called every day as being checked up on. Yo, if your parents have breathing problems, please take them to the hospital. They might actually die. So I'm panicking, but I also am working at the same time from home. I find out that like at the job I'm working at, they didn't have any COVID coverage, so I had to still work with COVID because they didn't know how bad it was for people. Yeah, so I was working full time from home. I was actually working unlimited overtime with COVID from home. So I actually worked harder because, well, one, we were on a crunch deadline, and two, we were gonna, like, if I worked just enough hours, I could actually pay up my student loans in one shot. And I didn't have much of my asthma equipment because I actually gave it to my parents because they needed it more. Because if I had an asthma attack, I was young. The chances of me surviving was like 80%, but for my parents it was like 40. So I'm like, you guys need it more than I do.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so what I end up doing for the most of the day, I have like these liquid like capsules of albuterol, and I actually mixed it in with like the distilled water on my CPAP machine, and I was working with like an air machine blowing air and like lung steroids 24/7. Okay, maybe not 24/7. It was more like 27 because I was working ridiculous hours for like 2 weeks. So I was working nonstop with COVID, and I was actually dying to the point where I wish like I would like walk around the house and like forget what I was doing. I'd be like downstairs like on my lunch break, and I'd see my mom trying to like fucking wash the clothes, and she's like coughing her lungs out, and I actually have to drag her back to the couch, make her take her medicine, and be like, stay the fuck down, you need it. And I forget what the fuck I'm doing, and then I'm 5 minutes late and have to run back upstairs to go back to work, put on my like mask and shit. I'm not like the don't cough mask. I mean like my CPAP blow air into my face mask. So yeah,
right.
I had to do all that shit. I had to survive without the fucking vaccine at the beginning. I think there was like a point in time I was actually sure I was probably going to die doing this, but if I didn't, there was a chance. And you know what? It paid off. Like I didn't die. I made enough money. I paid off my student loans, and I think I like passed out mentally and physically for like 8 months after that.
I do remember there was a point in time where I was like, where's Cloudy? We haven't really heard from him ever since he paid off his student loan. I think he's hibernating.
I basically was like so checked out. I actually could not move because like I don't know how I did this. I like mentally pushed off. I procrastinated on this fucking pain bullshit. I'm like, you know what? I can't do this right now. I'm gonna focus on ahead. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do my job. Okay, perfect. It's all paid off. I finished my job. Why can't I move my?
Oh no, he did.
Oh no, he did. But I live though. I live, motherfucker.
You're basically like the anime protagonist, where it's like he's still fighting, but he's passed out. His body's moving on its own.
Fucking Rock Lee, bushy brows energy. Let's go. Oh god, but that was. You know what? Why not? That GIF is like the perfect representation of what it was like going through when I finish everything. Then, like, the actual COVID kickback kit, like, stabs me in the chest. I'm like, okay, goodbye. But yeah, take COVID seriously. It sucks. Just because I live, there's not a chance that you will. Because, like, I'm gonna be serious. It was actually more scary to realize that, like, my parents were more at risk dying because they couldn't breathe than I was. So, yeah. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. And take your fucking vaccine. I know it's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna fucking kill you.
It's just gonna make you magnetic, which is
fun. Exactly.
You're basically gonna become Magneto.
Oh shit! I just thought back to like when me and my ex would like used to watch videos online together. She was really into like dermal implants, and like there was this guy who actually made a sixth sense into like sensing magnetic polarities because he put so many magnets, tiny magnets around his skin. He could like feel it. He could like it's not like putting a chip in your skin, but it's more like actual fucking magnets. He would like put his hand out and then a pen would come towards him like the fucking force. And I'm like, that can't be fucking healthy. And It wasn't. I think he had it removed like a couple years after he did that video. But still, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's so clear now. The webcast is a psyop.
Basically.
Basically.
The jig is up. So you mentioned how like you were gonna get a new bed. I've just gotten a new bed.
Oh, hey, nice.
I finally I had two one-person beds. I had the one that I moved out with, and then I bought another one in a thrift store, I think they're called, where you know, like you buy them used. And I did that because at the time I had a girlfriend, and you know, when you are two people laying in a one-person bed, there's not really room for a whole lot. So, I got another bed for reasons. But the problem was that every time that I had a girl over, or at the time where I had my ex, there would always be like this fucking little gap in between. Where it's like, if you lay here, at some point you're going to push the beds apart and you're going to just fall down to the floor. So we came up with all sorts of dumb solutions. Like we used zip ties on the legs of the bed and everything. It was goddamn over. But yeah, those beds, fucking old. So now I was like, okay, time for me to get myself a new bed. So I go into it's called Jysk in Denmark. It's like the biggest furniture, mostly bed vendor in Denmark. So I'm like, okay, let's check this out. What do you got? What do you have? And as I'm looking at these fucking things, I'm like, I realize I got no fucking idea what I'm looking at. Like a continental. What the fuck is that? An elevation bed. What the fuck is that? And I'm like, do I buy the bed and then do I go and buy a mattress separately? Where are we at? So I'm like cross-referencing this with my parents, like, what am I getting? And then we found out that there was like a really, 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 really fancy bed that was 50% off for some fucking reason. And when I'm saying it's really, really fancy, I mean like normally a normal dude like me would not have a bed like this. But for some reason, it was 50% off. So I'm like, I'm fucking getting that. And so it was a continental bed. And so I live on the 4th floor, and so I paid extra for people to carry the fucking thing in, because I'm not gonna fucking do that. Look at me, I'm scoring little shit. Mm-hmm. So I pay the extra money for these people to come and bring the bed up. And again, this was Friday. I was still, suffering the aftermath of the fucking COVID vaccine. So I'm sat there waiting for them to come with the bed, and they finally knock on the door, and then 2 guys come in. One brings 2 small flat boxes, long flat boxes, and one brings a longer box and a big roll thing. And then he's like, "Okay, have a nice weekend." I'm like, "Well, where the fuck is
carry, not to assemble?
Where the fuck is the bed?" And they're like, "Is in that." Now again, I need to stress the old bed that I had is old. It was fucking old. So it wasn't something you could disassemble. It came as a brick. So I'm looking at this going, what in the huh? And I'm like opening each box and I'm finding out that, I have to assemble it myself. How hard can that be? It turns out it can be pretty fucking hard. I spent the next 3 hours bending over backwards to try and fucking assemble this bed. I fucked some of it up, but I can still lay in it. But holy shit, I've never had like as good a rest as I am now. But the thing is that I had taken out the old beds and I've cleaned the bedroom and everything, so this thing was ready to just get in there. But ever since then, I've been like having irritated eyes and blocked nose and sniffles and everything. I'm like, is this dust allergy? But I vacuumed and I cleaned the floor. What the fuck? And then it hit me like Sunday or something. Oh right, the fucking vaccine. It's probably just a cold from that. So and sure enough, as when I started going back to work on Monday, it was like, I still have the sniffles at work, so it's definitely like the fucking vaccine. So that was an adventure. I didn't think that they wanted, the average Joe to assemble a bed, but here we are. I had the fucking driller and hammer out and everything. It was fucking nuts. But you can do a lot if you just like put on a documentary or something on your phone and just have it the fuck over there, and then you just work. I can see myself
having like something in the background to help.
Yeah.
Fucking I would go to like back when I still watched it, like Critical Role, just really long stretches of time with just people just talking about inane shit and like have like their campaign going in the background. It could be in like fucking anything. Put the Webcast Relief in the background and you can make your own bed.
Hey, fucking nice, bro.
But yeah, like, oh god. I think like the last time I tried to like get my bed assembled, I just ordered like a mattress and like this little elevator thing to lift it up, and I didn't have like a bed frame. I only had these things to lift it off the ground, these little metal posts. I got like the frame and like the elevator, but like I didn't have a box spring. That's what it's called, the box spring. I had those things, but I didn't have any of the. I didn't have the actual mattress. That for some reason came a week later. And I couldn't sleep on the box spring because if I slept on it too long, it would actually poke through like the little like sheets and like stab me in the back. So I'm like, okay, this is the exact reason why I got a new bed. So what I ended up doing was for like I think 2 weeks, I would sleep either on the floor or on the beanbag, and it would be.
Oh, that cannot have been good for your back, bro.
Oh no, it would fucked up my back and my neck. I'm not gonna make the song reference. The fucking
my neck, my
back, no. All that got fucked up. But like, oh god, like what I paid off in the assembly of like it was really fucking easy to put the metal together. I paid for in like, spinal injury, but it's fine. I'm good because like the bed I had back there, it's at my mom's house. I cannot bring it up here because I live in the second floor, and normally that's not so bad. but like the way this house is built, the only way up to my house is like two very narrow spiral staircases, either in the front of the house or the back of the house. The back of the house is an issue because one, it's fucking dirty as shit, and two, it is super narrow, and like I can't, and like this place is ghetto as shit. But in the front house, the problem is like the door coming into like my apartment is smaller than normal and thinner than normal. So I'm not even sure if a fucking bed will fit through that.
Can you hoist it through the window?
No, I cannot. Would you think I could? Okay, so here's another thing. There's actually technically a balcony on the second floor, but it's locked off and caved in. So like, you normally what you could do is like I could open the door and like have it just come in through the balcony. But the problem is like the flooring to the balcony is actually so weak. If something's on there, somebody might actually fall through.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I don't even think it's like a hassle. It's the same thing with trying to like replace the broken oven I have in this house. Like, I could probably do it, but like the hassle of getting into this house is so much, it's not even worth it. So I've been using an air fryer majority of the time. So, and I can't get a new bed, so I'm sleeping on the couch. But the couch is very soft, though, at the very least. I'm happy about that.
Like, bro, you need to fucking, like, get yourself a job and then, like, get yourself an apartment where you can, like, sleep and eat.
I mean, to be fair, I am getting a new job next week. So I might be doing the podcast in the middle of my work hours, but we'll get through that when I'm doing it.
If need be, we'll just schedule it so it's on a different day. It doesn't have to be a Wednesday. We'll figure it out.
I mean, like, my thing is like, the job I have is like Monday through Friday, but it's like a work at home gig, and they don't really check in until like noon. So we'll figure something out.
Plus, knowing you'll probably just churn out that work in like Monday and Tuesday, and then have Wednesday off.
Yeah, I have this like brilliant plan of working super hard at the beginning of the week, and then just slowly trickle in the work on the deadline dates. I could do that for work. I can't do that for my creative projects. That's the curse of ADHD right there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But like, man, I mean, like, I'm gonna talk to like my psychiatrist tomorrow, Friday, so that's gonna be good. Like, man, how do we get here? We got here for talking about COVID. Now we're talking about beds and then work cycles. We didn't introduce the podcast. Hi, welcome to the Webcast Relief. We talk about things.
What episode is this? Because I remember like we had DR on last time, and we were talking about like what number it was, and apparently we way undershot it. This is episode 7.
I'm going to double check the red circle. Episodes. Yeah, this is episode 7. Holy shit!
How the fuck did we manage to do 7? Well, to be fair, it's not been like a smooth ride. We've already had, like we're reaching 7 episodes, but we've already had to cancel twice.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? It's still like it's amazing. We probably would have like canceled sooner or some shit. But you know what? We're just still going.
Yeah.
We didn't give up. People seem to like this. People keep sending questions to the webcastrelief@gmail.com. That's webcastrelief@gmail.com.
I also saw that some people in the Discord has been like, "Wow, the podcast was really the right move." And I'm like, I'm really like, then I'm kind of surprised, both a little in the good and the bad way, because I never actually figured that the podcast episodes would actually get as much of an interaction as they do. Like, people are actually leaving comments and going, "Oh, I like this bit right here," and stuff like that. And I think that's fucking cool. But No, actually, I don't have anything negative. That's just fucking sick.
Yeah. But, like, no, I get it, because it's like... Because, like, you also have the things like the Lemmy Schoolyas that I love so much, and, like, the show and tells, which are really great, but then YouTube fucks with them for some god-awful reason. Makes me mad. But at the same time, it's also kind of cathartic, because, let's be real, people are listening to the podcast because they want to hear your takes. They want to hear what Lasse has to say about so and so, whatever. This is like their own little condensed nugget of wisdom and bullshit. You get the bullshit with the wisdom.
You really shouldn't come to me if you want wisdom. That is a bad move in every fucking sense of the word.
Well, tough shit. You made a whole career. Well, not really a career, but you made a whole channel out of it.
That's weird. Okay. So about that, we have an intern at work right now. She's a lovely girl, and I was introduced as one of the first things as, oh, and Lasse is a YouTuber, and she's like, oh, what's your channel called? I'm like, don't look it up. But eventually I ended up saying it's the Webcast Relief. And so apparently over the course of last weekend, her and some friends got drunk. And she was like, let me show you one of my colleagues' channel. And so they,
oh no!
They went and looked, and so they could find whatever. They could find the fucking latex blue one where I'm like, I'm dressed sharp, I'm looking clean, whatever. No, they find the fucking dating ad that I had for the Better Days video where I'm fucking sat half naked in my bed with fucking sex toy handcuffs on and being like, and talking about premature ejaculation. And
okay, but hey, did they call though?
What?
Did they call you though?
No.
They had a pulse. I'm assuming. Okay.
So that's great. Also, my boss came over to me. We were filming some stuff for a client, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I saw you. I checked out your YouTube channel." And I'm like, "Oh boy, what video did you check out?" The documentary you did, the one with Christian Weston Chandler. Yeah, that person is fucking wild, bro. But I haven't watched all of it. I'm like, okay.
Oh, you have no idea.
What chapter did you reach? 4. Oh, you're not prepared.
You're not prepared. Oh, poor thing. Poor man, poor thing. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm still... I'm just... it's funny, the other day, I thought about, here, these are the requirements of looking for a partner, and the only thing was a pulse. And that was, the funniest fucking thing in that, ad. But, oh, God.
And so if you have known me for quite a while, you know, okay, it's Lasse, he's joking, he wouldn't honestly use this as a dating app. This chick has known me for, less than a week at this point. And so one of the first things she sees is this. And I'm like...
YouTube should let you edit the video, post upload and make a giant disclaimer before to be hey, this was part of X review, so go check that.
I think it says that in the description actually.
Put it in the video, no one reads the description, boy.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Now that I think about it, so when I graduated and got my bachelor's degree, my stepmom, who went with me to the graduation, was like, I had just posted the Better Days video shortly before that. And so we're meeting up before we, walk into the whole graduation ceremony. And she's like patting me on the back going, hey, yeah, that's a good job. You did it. By the way, I saw your latest video. That dating thing was fucking hilarious. And it's just like, you're my fucking stepmom. What? No. There's few things you're not allowed. And that is, one of them is seeing me with fucking handcuffs.
I mean, unless you committed a crime or some shit.
Yeah. Look, I would rather she saw me in those types of handcuffs.
Oh, lordy.
When I did that bit, I was so like, don't do this. This is like making yourself too dumb. Like at that point in time, I think like the dumbest thing I had done was the fuck off creep, where I played a female character or something. I think like that was the most like self-degrading thing I had done. So I was like, I think this is maybe a little too much, but fuck it, we're gonna do it, because the lead into it kind of like demanded that I had that joke. So I'm like, okay, can't cut it out. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, that is the thing that most people in my private life has seen. More people in my personal life has seen that than they have seen Please Live or the fucking Solitude documentary.
Well, to be fair, the Solitude documentary is like newer, and it's like it's getting there.
Yeah,
but
I just think it's fucking wild that the one thing of all of the entire catalog, I have over 100 videos. The entire catalog, the one you decided to watch was me wearing sex toy handcuffs.
To be fair, it was also like one of the shorter videos on there, so I think I can understand people's poor attention spans.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the fuck off creep that I'm like confused about, because like I can't remember, was that in the middle of the Les Linda's review, or was that like one of the Jackie Diaz comics?
I actually don't recall.
It was like one of the random ones. Like you'd have to like you'd have to be engrossed in Les Linda's, or you'd have to be like a Bleach fan or an Avatar fan to find it.
I think it was Les Linda's, because I think I'm making a joke about how Miles is like, oh, she doesn't want to date me. Well, she's a fucking cunt.
Yeah, but that was like deep into the fucking thing. That's not something you just stumble upon. So they had to have seen a majority of the Les Linda's review.
Yeah. Shit's wild.
God, it's wild. Like, be proud of the things you post online. Otherwise, you won't be. It's hard to delete things. Yeah, unless you're me and you're like unknown and you can delete your old Sprite comic off the internet. No one must know my shame. I'm still
so I don't know who it is, but there's some person who I don't know what the game is or whatever, but but every now and again I will get a comment about, hey, are you gonna review Angel Academy, which was the name of the first webcomic I ever did. And I'm like, okay, kind of wild that you know that name. But then they will fucking quote the intro description for the by the way, the comic is fucking gone. Like, I have taken it down from everywhere that it existed, but they will fucking take that little intro blurb about like what the comic is about and everything, and quote it to me word from word in the comments of my videos, and I'm like, what in the fuck? This is some crazy stalker shit.
Oh god, the Warcraft people are at it again.
Oh, nah.
They just want to tell you why nanomachines work in the steampunk environment.
Dude, speaking of, have you heard that there's news about that?
No, tell me, because I do not keep up with any of this Blizzard shit.
Okay, so apparently they are adding stuff to the lawsuit because apparently Blizzard has been caught shredding documents that were pertaining to the case. Hold on, let me
god.
Let me fucking find it. Because I quote tweeted it earlier.
That's some fucking like Republican shit. Who was the guy in charge? The guy sold shit to the Contras. Reagan, I think. That's some like government psyop conspiracy bullshit, and it's fucking Blizzard.
The state of California has expanded its lawsuit against Activision Blizzard, now suing on behalf of contractors and claiming the publisher has shredded documents needed for the investigation. This is from GameIndustry.biz.
Oh,
that's
that's. If they get off scot-free, there's no hope for this country. They are serving it on a silver fucking platter. I don't care how good your lawyers are. How the fuck are you gonna get away with this?
When you're in a hole, it's a good idea to stop digging.
I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole.
Digging a hole.
Lord Almighty. Like, I am so far removed from any of this Blizzard shit because I never grew up with it. I didn't get like my first computer until I was like 14. I didn't have my first cell phone until I was like 21. Fucking, I'm a ghetto boy. But fucking, how do you stoop so fucking low?
I don't know.
Did it like,
I saw that. So there's this Twitch streamer called Pyromancer or something. Apparently he was like the guy who would read all of the Blizzard books and documentaries and the cookbook and all that shit, all the stuff that you needed to have like a full understanding of what the law was for World of Warcraft or something like that. And so I don't know if you ever saw him like Vati Vidya for Dark Souls.
Oh yeah. I actually started watching him recently, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's basically that way. It's like he's explaining the law of, okay, why is Sylvanas doing XYZ? Okay, well, in this book, she does this or that. And at one point, he just had a fucking meltdown. He was just like fucking screaming and shitting all over on Blizzard. And the thing was that in his studio, or whatever the fuck it was, his walls were covered from top to bottom in Warcraft books, figures, posters, paintings, you name it. He has now jumped over to Final Fantasy, and he live on camera just started shredding all of these fucking Warcraft posters off the walls, and has now replaced them with Final Fantasy posters and paintings.
Bro.
I think it is. So again, we're talking about this subject again, and you know, honestly, at this point, it's kind of a dead horse, but I just think it's so fascinating to see this massive, ultra fast decline in Blizzard, and at the same time see this skyrocketing fame of Final Fantasy 14, especially because, you know, it's a thing that I have a personal stake in. But even if I didn't, it would still be fucking fascinating. But yeah, even as Alice in the chat says, even Carbon Jump Ship, the animator who was so good, Blizzard implemented his work into Heroes of the Storm. Like, all of their biggest influences are jumping ship, and I'm just sat here feeling smug. But I did see that that there were some people who. Because, like, obviously I couldn't shut the fuck up, so I started tweeting about this, being like, hey, I fucking told you so, it was garbage. and I saw some people who were like, yeah, but this is an issue with the entire industry. Like, what are you winning by going, I told you so with Blizzard? And it's like, yeah, we're celebrating this one now to really make it, like, scary for everyone else, so they will stop fucking doing. Yes, like... we incarcerate a murderer, but there's still gonna be murderers out there. But like, So what? We're not gonna celebrate incarcerating a murderer? Like the whole idea that it's a problem that it still exists even outside of this one instance. Yes, but should that like mean that you're not allowed to celebrate the fact that it's being stopped? I never understood that.
No, it's like I honestly I agree. Who is that? Who is that like guy? Sorry, I just had a fucking stroke thinking. But no, there's this thing where people think just because it's still happening, it's like an excuse to like let something slide. No, don't let it slide. Yeah. Like just because like all this shit is happening, you should have more reason to shit on them. Because like, hey, you know what? I know there's a problem here, but these people keep thinking they get away with it. There's this like really good. There's this thing I hate about like fucking like true crime and like murders and shit. Whenever someone gets caught for like a horrible, devastating crime, they give them this cool name like the backwoods stalker or the night terror or the stable slasher. Some shit like
the demon of Detroit.
Exactly. Just like fucking. Why are you glorifying these people? No, you should call them like bitch face poo poo pants, like the ugly worm penis. I don't fucking know. Like degrade them. They shouldn't be like glorified for the horrible atrocities. Like, oh, just because there's murders going around, like, oh, there's always gonna be school shootings. Oh boy, but I'm like. Don't stop glorifying them. Like ridicule them. Make sure their legacies are tarnished. Like people like these should not have fucking fandoms behind them.
No, I like the way that you phrased it before, like the yard slashers. I mean, like it sounds like it is a esport tournament away from being a game attack. Like it is like in fucking fighting games you have like Daigo the Beast. You could fucking tell me that like in Florida there's a guy who killed like a whole entire school bus and he's called Cliff and then it's like Cliff the Beast. Like you can use it for both.
I know, but it's like it shouldn't. Like Cliff should be the kitty fiddler if he was gonna do that.
Yeah, and I think
no one's gonna respect the kitty fiddler.
I think that's why there's so many people who honest to God loved To Catch a Predator, because that was so, like unapologetically, we're just gonna fucking dunk on these people. He sent an embarrassing photo. Let's show the photo. Hey, here's this guy Kevin from Jersey. And he's a fucking limo driver or some shit. And like you have all the information so that even if you can't arrest him, everyone and the fucking mom is gonna go, this dude over here is a nonce.
God bless. Like we should do, and that's what I'm saying. Do that shit to Blizzard. Don't let them fucking get away with it. I don't care if you're a fan. You can be the biggest Warcraft, like, Overwatch fan, whatever have you. Don't let them fuckers get away with it. I don't even give a shit if you still support the games, but, like, take these people who are responsible and dunk on them. Fucking head, like, fucking tombstone their head into the pavement. It's not that hard.
Celebrate everything bad that happens to bad people. Like, okay, maybe not everything bad. Like, sure, there's gonna be a threshold where it's like, it's a little too much. But ultimately, it's not a bad thing to dunk on bad people.
That's probably why people are so upset, because people did honestly love WoW. WoW isn't just any game; it's something that was super special for a lot of people for a long time. And that's understandable.
Absolutely,
because like I can understand like the attachment. Like I'm not knocking them for having the attachment to like the game itself, and it feels like more than everything else that's happened up until this point, it feels like a massive betrayal to like everyone who supported them, that they got so bullheaded and did this nasty shit. Like you expected better out of them, because like you saw them forgive you. When you have a fan base, you can like get forgiven for a lot of dumb bullshit. We actually talked about this as like a writing tip to when Moron asks this question. It's like if you have a good enough presentation and you engage the audience enough, they will happily like fill in the blanks for you and make the story work even past what you intend. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. That is a marvelous achievement to do in fiction. But you can't let it's like a weird thing. Like, oh, can you separate? We're gonna segue into this, by the way. Can you separate the man who created the game from his creation? And I make a very distinct stance. Is like yes, and you should.
Yeah.
But speaking of that segue, unless you want to talk more about
no, because again, it's a dead horse, and I would gladly move on from it.
There was some kerfuffle we wanted to touch on last week.
Yeah.
That having to do with a very specific boyfriend dungeon. Lasse, like I don't know much specifics. All I know is like the aftermath. But like, can you like set the stage for me real quick?
Okay, so a video game came out, which was very LGBTQ plus. All those letters and words that I don't remember. Very, LGBTQ game where it's a mixture of like a dungeon crawler video game where your weapons are husbandos that you can date or whatever the fuck. And it's very, very, like it's kind of like a dating game and everything. And for all intents and purposes, people really liked the game. But there was an issue with the game, and it had a lot of like content warning. Hey, this game features such and such and this and that, and even had like options for you to like. One of the big things I saw was that at one point the game is gonna be like, hey, every now and again you're gonna get a text message from your mom. Is this something that you're cool with? And then you can like toggle that off in case that you have a bad relationship with your parents or something. I personally think that's silly, but again, I don't like I have a perfect fine relationship with my parents, so I wouldn't know about that. But the thing that got people riled up is that the main antagonist of the game is a stalker, and so so people were flipping the fucking shit. Like, even though the content warnings like, hey, this game features people who will do unwanted advances on your character or something like that. And so people were really, really up in arms that, hey, there's this character who stalks your character and is being really creepy and comes with approaches on your character. And the guy who voices that stalker guy, Octopimp, and I don't know if it's Octopimp. He's actually in the fighting game community. He's a professional Guilty Gear player, and he voices Axl Rose in Guilty Gear.
So it's like crazy because like I recognize Octopimp for like the abridged series for free, which is 50% off, as well as like Tumblr posts where he voiced Gamzee and a bunch of other fucking things. So this guy gets around. I'm proud of Octopimp, but he did not get the shit. Yeah, he does good shit. But yeah, continue.
So because he is voicing this character, Octo got bombarded with messages about like, oh my god, I can't believe you lent your voice to such a creepy fucking character, fucking kill yourself, and yada. Like, people were fucking flipping out. People were started review bombing and fucking calling out the developers of the game because you were not able to toggle off the plot, basically.
Don't forget the death threats. They got lots of death threats. Everybody involved. A lot
of death threats. Death threats are plenty going around to fucking everyone involved with the fucking video game. To which I'm a little unhappy to see that that the people who make the game, I'm afraid I can't remember the studio's name, but actually went and were like, I guess we could, we're very sorry, I guess we could have written a better disclaimer at first. And like, no, this is like, I can understand the whole like getting a text message from your from your mom or whatever, and that you maybe want to be able to toggle that off, because it's not like something that actually adds to the plot or anything. It's just like a little like a little extra spice to the narrative. But the whole idea of your character being stalked or something is like the main antagonist. It's the drive. It's the drama of the entire fucking thing. Like, you being able to fucking toggle that off in any shape or form, that's stupid. And it even like warns you at the beginning. Hey, there's gonna be people who will come with unwanted advances, and if you feel if that makes you uncomfortable, then like, now you know, and then you can do whatever you need, like discretion is advised or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I think that's the stage. Did you have anything, Cloudy?
No, that's kind of what I wanted to. Thank you for pointing it out, too, because like it opens up this discussion that people have this weird sense of entitlement, and this is gonna go in a bunch of different directions, but like trying to put my thoughts one by one. There comes like a point where you should be old enough to like understand like the intent. I genuinely believe that like art is meant to challenge you. Some art is. Other art is like, you can be hyper self-indulgent, that's fine. You can have art that challenges you, that's fine. Sometimes you want to tell a very certain story and it's gonna go places that are gonna make you uncomfortable. But then you have to question, why does this make you uncomfortable? Maybe someone like this, maybe these are signs that a person like this is very bad. Trying to it's one thing to like be uncomfortable with something and be like, hey, maybe you could have maybe have like a turn off the thing, or give us warnings. There's like that. You could have done that, but there's like the sheer outrage, like trying to make these developers out to be some sort of pariah for daring to do something like this. It's disgusting. I'm looking at the ESRB for Boyfriend Dungeon right now. Right at this moment in time, it's rated T for teen, and I'm like, you think with the way everything's being portrayed, like, oh, this, like, maybe this is like an M-rated game. This is something we can't talk about. But no, this is something that's supposed to be available for a wide audience. You should be mature enough to like take it. Now, I want to address triggers and shit. That is understandable, where if you see something, it can make you feel a very, very certain powerful uncomfortableness if you've actually gone through it. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. That's if that happens to you, like, that's why a trigger warning exists. It's that whole warning to tell you do not interact. Yeah. Like, that's why they exist. That's why the warning exists in the first place. Like, this covers like uncomfortable themes of like whatever. But if you're gonna like blatantly go through and you're going to see that thing and then have that outrage, you were told from the start that this is gonna make you uncomfortable. Where do you get off saying that, like, how dare you make this thing not for me? How dare you have this in there? You don't deserve your life, your work. All this thing is bad. Get rid of it. You have upset me. It's disgusting, to be quite frank.
Absolutely.
You go ahead.
So the whole thing about like trigger warnings, when I first started hearing about trigger warnings and stuff like that, I think I touched on this in my Christine Weston Chandler documentary, where I was like, I would probably have made fun of Christine at one point in my life too. And that was like when I was like, I will, not proudly, but I will admit that at one point in my life I was like, oh, there's only two genders. There's he and she, and oh, you identify as an attack helicopter. Ha ha ha! I'm so funny. I'm edgy teen. And then I was also of the opinion that trigger warnings are for fucking like people who don't go outside and something. I would like to think that as I've grown older, I've started to empathize a lot more with people. I've talked with more people. I've learned that there's we all come from different schools of life. Not everyone grew up like me with like loving parents or something. Some people were abused by their parents. I've talked with people who have been like severely abused by their parents, which is why I can totally understand the whole thing of like not wanting a text message from your mom because that might like trigger something. But I definitely also think that sometimes, how to put this? I understand why it's a thing, but I will also say that, and again, this comes from a person who, like, there's nothing you can really do to trigger me. So I obviously do not know what it's like to be triggered, but I think that you should never, like, I don't like the idea of never being pushed or made uncomfortable. I like to think that sometimes a media should make you uncomfortable to make you be like, this is fucked up. Because that is the feeling that the narrator wants to, the writer wants to instill in you. So, for example, even in art, I remember when I was doing my graphic design classes, at one point we had to go to the museum, and I saw one of those, paintings that's just like a big white sheet, and then someone had drawn like two circles or whatever the fuck on it. And I was like standing there with my teacher, and I was like, "This is so fucking stupid." And she's like, "Why? Why is it stupid?" And I'm like, "This is a fucking asshole. Just drew two fucking lines on a piece of paper and then called it art." Yeah, and how does that make you feel? It makes me fucking angry that people can just call that art. And then she goes, "Maybe that's the intent." And all of a sudden, my mind just goes. Like, can that, like, the idea that someone can do something with the explicit intent of making you feel something. And sometimes that shouldn't always just be happy and joyful. Sometimes if something makes you uncomfortable, it should make you uncomfortable, because, like, you can use that to really drive a point home, for example. So I'm trying to think. I remember there was something like Remember the whole instance of that movie Cuties or whatever the fuck, like that French movie. So that one was done poorly. The entire I think the entire idea at first done poorly was to have these underage girls do all the shit that they're doing in that movie, and it was supposed to make you uncomfortable to watch this. God. And through that you could then go, did that make you uncomfortable? Yeah, okay, this is a problem we need to deal with, because hey, you're feeling uncomfortable now, okay, this is you should feel uncomfortable.
Oh God.
But then you have like go on.
Okay, I'm just gonna quick. Literally the night before, me and my friend were watching Dead Wing Dork, the whole stream, and there was Mr. Girl's review of Cuties, and how he took the wrong message out of it.
Yeah, these guys are hot. No!
No! Like, no, you see, everyone's a pedophile. No, you are! What the fuck is wrong with you? Eat a brass egg. So, fucking... But yeah, no, go on. I'm just... But yeah, no. Intent has to be very clear from the start.
Yeah, and so I personally feel that sometimes it's okay to be taken out of your comfort zone and made to feel uncomfortable or something. Like, you're never supposed to be, like, for example, with like an epic drama. Let's say Lord of the Rings. You're not supposed to like look at the what are the ring wraiths called? Nazgul? Is that a Nazgul?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings or read it, so I'm just going to nod my head and say yes.
Alright, there's a fucking ring wraiths. And like they're fucking scary because it's just like a big cloak with like fingers or whatever the fuck. And like when you see that, you're not supposed to go, it's cute. You're supposed to go, that makes me uncomfortable because that it makes like it's scary. It's creepy to look at. And it should be creepy to look at because it needs to instill that feeling of creepiness within you, so you can empathize with the characters who are looking at it, and are also feeling that thing fucking creeps me the fuck out. And that's why horror movies also has like disturbing imagery, and not just, you know, like, oh, here's Jimmy and he looks normal and it's brightly sunny outside and oh, by the way, he stabs you. No, it's typically it's dark, it's creepy, this thing is deformed in some way, it makes you feel unsafe. You're supposed to feel that because then when they conquer it, you're like,
feels good.
Yeah,
it feels good when you face your fears and do better. It's great.
When you face off against like the thing that makes you uncomfortable. So
Jimmy was the scariest horror villain of all time.
Jimmy was the scariest horror villain of all time. Absolutely. So when I hear that people are like, "Oh no, it's a creepy stalker dude," yes, that is creepy. But and again, I'm saying this without having actually played the game. I can imagine that at some point you fucking defeat him or do something to deal with this dude, and it's supposed to be like, hey, creepy assholes like a stalker you can deal with. But people were just like, I don't like to feel any negative emotions. I just want happy, and lick the abs of this handsome husbando who is also my sword or whatever the fuck. And it's like... Like, do you ever feel like there should be an entry level to enjoy fiction? Because I'm starting to think that there should be an entry level for you to enjoy fiction.
My brain went to Barney. Don't know why.
Yeah. The dinosaur?
Yeah, the dinosaur.
Yeah. We didn't have him in Denmark.
Who'd you have in Denmark?
We had a guy called Bamse and his friend Kylling, which is Teddy and Chicken.
Wait! I thought of it. You know that Danish cartoon you shared with us, the one with the guy with the really long dick.
Oh, John Dillermand.
Yeah, John Dillermand. Yes, he will be the entry point. If you can look at that, but feel uncomfortable, but go through, because it's a wholesome children's show.
Dude, he fucking, like, he comes flying in on a helicopter with his dick around the feet of the helicopter and is using that as a fucking bungee jump rope so he can save you from a fire. He's the coolest guy ever.
Oh, man, like, okay, if you watch John Dillermand, that is your entry into fiction.
Yeah.
Licking the abs off a sword would get your tongue cut off.
Yeah.
So I keep telling you guys is like a boyfriend dungeon is like the closest thing we're going to get to a Soul Eater video game, and that makes me sad. But I'll take what I can get. But at the same time, it's like I do not believe in like getting rid of a story because it makes you uncomfortable.
No.
And this makes me want to go into like touch on apparently the one to keep singing their praises every fucking podcast just because it's so poignant. Sarah Z. A lot of people have issues with Sarah Z because a lot of the things she talks about either stir people up, but she probably does it better than most people. She explains her points as to why these things are a problem. And there's this whole to summarize the whole fandom video in like a few minutes. You have the people who are super for one thing, let's just say shipping, and they're super against something, we just call them antis. And you have them seeing nothing but sheer black and sheer white, and they're constantly at odds with each other. And it doesn't matter if you want to come in with like a centrist point of view, or if you want to be a mediator. Both sides will attack you one way or the other for not being with them or against them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be about like shipping. It could be about fucking anything, as long as it has to do with like fictional characters. And they will fight you and they will degrade you. And I promise you, we're probably gonna, if we ever hit mainstream, they're gonna find this episode and they're gonna like attack you to death, Riiser. So I'm sorry. It's gonna be Tower of God 2 Electric Boogaloo.
As long as it's not Made in Abyss.
As long as it's not Made in Abyss. I don't think that. I feel like there'd be more antis against 8 Made in Abyss because of the whole child thing. But like, it's like mentality that's all or nothing. I will say, you can probably like tell the difference between a piece of art that is physically made to like, you know, get people very angry, get people very like propaganda essentially. Like the one she used was like the Turner Diaries, which is a fucked piece of literature. That like if you want to shun that, go ahead. But there's like a difference between that and like cute anime boys being making you uncomfortable. Like fucking, I'm kind of like finally dipping my toes into Dark Souls lore because I'm watching like Vati videos now, and like I don't know if it was him or someone else, but like someone like made the distinction that like the process of hollowing in Dark Souls is like a metaphor for Alzheimer's. It doesn't matter how long you're living, but you're like constantly losing yourself the longer you're going. And like, is it better to like die right away before that happens, or if it's like you're just gone? That's one interpretation I heard, and that's like hella uncomfortable, but it makes you think.
Yeah.
It could just be, you know, just game mechanics. Like how, like, hey, this game's designed to make you die over and over again. We're gonna punish you for dying, so don't die, bro. Just get good. But then it's also like you think of it as like from like a narrative perspective. What does this mean? What is the author's intent? Because Dark Souls specifically is like a series that is just not obtuse. It's they explicitly go out of their way to not tell you shit. Explicitly, they make you have to find it yourself. Otherwise, you're left with an incomplete story. And then it's just fucking... You get to this point. Are you gonna, like, attack them? Are you gonna tell them... Are you gonna tell Miyazaki to go kill himself for making you feel uncomfortable about your own mortality? Well, if you are, go fuck yourself. I'm probably wrong about the whole Alzheimer's thing. That's probably been debunked. Yeah. And it's like, that's one interpretation I've heard. I've only started dipping my toes into this. Like I said, that could be completely wrong. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
So the thing about hollowing out is that you don't have a goal.
Yeah.
And that could be either if you obtain it or if you just give up on your goal. Yeah. So you hollow out when you have basically no reason to live. That's basically exactly. It. But it is true that hollowing out, like as you hollow more and more out, your memory starts to dissipate.
Yeah.
But as you say, that is something that indeed makes you really uncomfortable. Like the whole idea of Alzheimer's is fucking like one of the most uncomfortable things in the world.
But like my point is like are you actually going to attack somebody for that interpretation, even if that interpretation is completely off base?
No. I would say it's probably not true, but I like it.
Yeah. It's like, when it comes, like, we really had this thing where we talked about, like, in storytelling, where, like, if you obscure things, you have that mystery. Yeah. Like, you're going to get really wrong, wild speculation thrown in there like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, fucking... what right are you to attack somebody for something that you came up with and interpreted yourself? Because that could not be further from the truth.
Real quick, I'm gonna put Bonza a little bit on blast here, but it's pertaining to what you're talking about, and just before we go too far away from Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. Because I had like the Dark Souls 3 lore through, where I was like playing through the game, and then I had Alice, who has been putting weeks upon weeks of investigation and analysis into the game, feeding the lore as we got to the different places and stuff. And I think Bonsai at the time was like making a theory on how there was different elements of souls in the game, which there isn't. But it was one of those things where, like, I can see, like, it's an interesting theory. It's wrong, but it's an interesting theory, and I didn't fucking like, even though I'm reading it as I'm playing, I'm not going, oh my god, look at this fucking guy. No, like, when there is room for speculation, you are absolutely 100% free to make assumptions. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, sometimes there isn't a clear answer, and it's more pertaining to how you how you interpret it and what makes sense and has meaning to you. That doesn't mean that you should fucking kill someone over it.
Exactly. That's like golden rule. Don't do that shit. It's crazy. It's very crazy because, like, the thing with Boyfriend Dungeon, it is very, very explicit, very like upfront. Like that, like, this guy is creepy. They show red flags all the time, and just because he has this like manipulative thing, that's him. That's also them telegraphing, hey, maybe not trust this guy. Maybe he's a fucking creep. You should recognize he's a fucking creep. And like
it's not even like when you heard, obviously, because I want to check out this whole Octoping thing. When you hear the voice lines of the guys, like, how the fuck is there any speculation this dude is a fucking creep? He's like, he's really, what do you do? Like, it's fucking, it's Monday morning cartoons fucking levels of ambiguousness. It's like, oh, I wonder who the creepy sex guy is.
And it's like, I can understand if you don't want to interact with a story like that, but here's what you do. You don't buy the game.
Yeah, you let other people interact. Do it.
There, like, the internet is this thing, like, you don't even have the excuse that you can't do that anymore. Because back in the days before the internet, you had to, like, just look at a game from the box art, and that was it. And then you pop it in, and if you liked it or hate it, then that's like $60 you wasted.
Yeah.
Now, with the advent of the internet, you can just watch something. You can, like, get a review. Like, as shitty as it is, you don't have to buy the game to enjoy it anymore. Which is personally a thing I hate, but I'm like, okay, whatever. Do whatever you want. But to not even play the game, to not even, like, support the team, to, like, look at this from someone else's point of view and actively go out of your way to attack them, to send death threats, to demand something when you aren't even fucking giving them any of your effort or money. You're a bitch! I'm sorry. Was that too loud?
No. That's fine. Like, you didn't say you wanted to kill someone this time, so I think it's a step up.
Listen.
But you and I, go on.
That was a one-time thing, because that person, like, personally, like, did me dirty, did my friends dirty.
Yeah, I know.
Makes me feel a certain way, but. I'm learning to not go off the handle. I'm not going to be a monkey with a gun.
You're learning to podcast. It's good. But you and I, we were talking about this whole thing of like when we were discussing this subject about, should fiction make you feel good?
Mm-hmm.
And I personally, so I remember there was this time where I had a friend with benefits, and so at one point she was like, "Hey, let's watch a movie." And I'm like, I don't fucking have anything. Like, all I have is the Berserk anime, which I had just bought at the time. It's like, oh yeah, we can watch that. And so we started watching it. And I'm like, okay, so listen. Berserk is one of the greatest things ever made. And she's like, okay. And so we started watching it. And after, so this is 3 movies, and so we watched 2 of them because I don't have the third one. And so I'm like, what did you think? And she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, really? What was it that you didn't like? I don't like it because like Griffith got captured. That's a bad thing. Like, yeah, and like we can't watch the third one, but let me tell you, Griffith fucking betrays Guts and rapes Casca in front of him, and she's like, why would anyone watch that? Like, because drama. I'm like, but it doesn't. But it makes me feel sad. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm personally of the opinion that a piece of fiction doesn't necessarily have to make you feel one way or the other. Sometimes it's like, I just want to tell a story. I appreciate it when a movie or a book or a game or a comic or anything can make you feel something, because I always like to have my emotions played with. Which is why I am so keenly aware that when creators like Yoko Taro is just like trying to, hey, cry, then I know what is going on and it doesn't work on me. But when there's something where it's like it legitimately works, I feel like that's fucking fantastic. But I feel like the people who are like, I don't want anything bad to happen, or I don't want to feel sad, they are the kind of people who are like, I don't want Carmina to die. And like, but it has to happen. Like, fuck. Like, yes, it sucks. Yes, it's sad. Yes, it's the lowest point of the entire series. But it needs to happen. It's like the story doesn't work if it doesn't happen.
Like, the thing about a trampoline is like you gotta have the tension go down, 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 and then it just yeets you upward very high. The lower you go, the higher the higher you fly. And I'm sorry, I just remember that whole when Twitter became Tumblr, when they were airing the dub of Gurren Lagann for the first time in English, and then people for the first time experienced Kamina dying. It just flashed me back to like when it first aired in Japanese. I'm like, oh, a wave of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Fucking. But yeah. You continue. Sorry.
But yeah, I'm very much of the opinion. Like almost all of my favorite fiction, none of it ends like on a happy ending. Metal Gear ends on a bittersweet note. Dark Souls is like one of the most like. Basically, do you continue on life support or do you just die? Like that's the end. That's the ending of that. I think Gurren Lagann is the one that ends on a happy note. But even then, it's like
that's still bittersweet because, like, you know,
Kitan dies and Nia dies and Kamina is still dead. Like but it is one of those things where you're gonna bump into obstacles in your life. Not everything is gonna be a cakewalk. So the reason why something like Gurren Lagann, for example, is so good is because you're gonna bump into opposition. Shit's not always gonna go your way, but it's about moving forward. And so you look at this fiction and you're like, yes, I can be like Simone. I can drill through. I can pierce through because my idol or this fictional character inspired me to do so. But if all you ever read or watch or play is just happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, and then you're out and you're buying groceries and you buy a milk, and then when you come home and the milk is sour, your entire world is just gonna crumble because you're not fucking used to opposition. Like, like you need to understand that not everything is gonna go your way, but that makes it so that when you overcome obstacles, when you persevere, when you work through your issues, it's the best feeling in the world. And we need to get there, not this weird utopia thing where it's like everything is great, everything is perfect. My favorite thing, real quick, about the word utopia is that it originates from the Greek language, and it means a world that cannot exist.
Heh. Get fucked.
I fucking like, and that is like, it's perfect, because no, everyone cannot be fucking happy. It sucks, but you need to push through it. If you want to find true unhappiness in a webcomic, find a comic that have art that uses 3-point perspective in their establishing shots. Those artists are miserable and tired.
Oh, God.
Speaking from experience there, Luke.
God bless. God bless you, man. Like, okay. I have the opinion that, like, most things, like, very close to everything is, like, allowed to exist. And I believe, like, every sort of fiction has its, like, place and use. If, like, I'm not usually of the sort where you're perfectly allowed to, like, have media that's just, like, you know, you can have your dumb power fantasies. You can have your comfort anime. You can have your, like, chill things. You can have your fucking coffee shop AUs. That is fine. And you know what? That is allowed to exist. No one will ever tell you that this one dumb isekai because this is super hyper power fantasy shouldn't exist because you should never have any conflict. Even they see real, even in like those things I talk about, like they have their justified genocide. Even they have to have their conflict to keep the story engaging. And I keep using that word because it always happens. Fucking hell. But like, everything has to... Conflict is allowed to exist. That's how you make stories engaging. That's just That's just a mechanical thing. That's life. Yeah. But even if you discount all of that, even if you have like the comfiest thing, you have no right, no like reason, no absolute authority to say this should not exist because it has it. And I'm gonna even like go to bat for Made in Abyss. Because it is, I'm gonna play the Woolies advocate here. It's got some heinous, horrible, disgusting shit. And it makes you uncomfortable. And you know, even if it is the author's intent to get like someone Woolies walks off, it also, you can also walk away without taking away those things as well. Yeah. You can choose to like, look at everything else and see whatever symbolism is lied and like make your own reason from it. You can actually see a story of like someone going down to the depths of the abyss and like you know, going through growing up and like seeing people challenge themselves in like ways that are not comfortable.
Yeah, like, and you know what? Like that's what I also said in the video. Like when me and Alice watched the anime, it was like I legit thought that was what it was going to be. Like as for, like this is the character dealing with through the grieving period of losing her mom and showing the extent that she's willing to go to deal with that. And yes, there's obstacles going along the way or something, and that is perfectly fine. There is a really good story in Made in Abyss ready to be told, but it's just being obscured by all this other shit. But But as disgusting as that all other shit is, I'm never gonna fucking go and fucking stab the creator or try to get the comic removed. It's not for me. I think it's wrong. I think it's disgusting. But there is good stuff there. Like, who the fuck am I to go? No one. No one can enjoy this.
Exactly. And I think that's like, even for like some of the worst things, Like aside from like manufactured propaganda made to incite hate and made to incite like when you have shit like that, that is very, very overtly clear. Yeah. Like there is no two ways about it. You'll know it when you see it. But like, just because if something has those elements, if something goes to like territories that are gonna be like, oh, this is fucked up, what right do you have to say it does not exist? And what right do you have to condemn the people making it? Because until you've done something awful, until you've actually seen the creators do it themselves, Blizzard is one example. The author for Rurouni Kenshin is another, being the guy hoarding a bunch of CP. You can take the creation and like move it somewhere else and like enjoy it for what it was. But then you can also feel free to like condemn them for the people who've actually done actual bad shit. The creation of the art isn't the bad shit, it's the everything they're doing behind the scene.
Yeah.
And I saw you like smile big and wide, and I'm like, oh, what do you got to say?
No, it was just like the whole Rurouni Kenshin thing. That one always fucking gets me.
Like I won't lie, like I can sympathize with like the Blizzard people because I didn't cry. Well, I probably cried a little bit, but it was more like fucking man, that one hurt. That one hurt a lot. But like, and even like the fact he got off with the slap on the wrist, that doesn't make me feel any better.
No, I think like so. The reason why I'm feeling like ways about that is obviously because I read a little bit of Rurouni Kenshin and I really liked it. But the thing that always fucks me over is that at the same time there was Judgment, the game by the Yakuza people where you are a detective, and in that there is a guy who voices and facial mocaps for one of the Yakuzas in the game, and so he was caught with like a fifth of a gram of cocaine on him or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he got thrown in jail and more or less got kicked out of Japan. And like and it's so funny because like this is a dude who is acting as a Yakuza and he has drugs on him for personal use. Don't do drugs, by the way. But yeah, he has drugs on him for personal use. He gets a bajillion times harder sentence than the dude who is in possession of and distribution of CP.
Yep.
That just goes to show how fucked the Japanese legal system is.
Yep. I heard they're like trying to get like a nationwide raise the age, so that's progress, I suppose.
I
but
guess.
It's like, I can't even be fucking judgmental. I felt like I recently found out that the age of consent in my state is 16.
Oh boy!
So I'm like, oh boy, oh no. So that's a thing.
Speaking of, I think it's fucking hilarious that the legal drinking age in America is
21.
21. In Denmark, it's 16. And
it goes to show like how fucking like values are different for different things all across the world.
Yeah, and I think it's so fucking interesting because like in America, like from what I understand from reading and watching movies and shit, it's like the worst thing in the world if you are like a teenager and you get caught with like alcohol on you. Whereas in Denmark, the whole thing of you're only allowed to drink when you're 16, you only like that thing is you're allowed to buy it. People are fucking like I have been part of groups where we were like 12 and drinking beers when the cops came by and they didn't fucking bat an eye. It's so fucking wild that it's so different. I know this is a complete different tangent of what we were talking about before. I just really find it fascinating that you own a semi-automatic machine gun at the age of 18. Cool. Hey, is that a Corona? Okay, a Heineken. Like
no. Like no, I love to use Corona because like that's what my grandma drinks. But I'm just fucking the whole gun disparity. Like, okay, we're not gonna go into too much.
No, we are not gonna get in there.
I'm just going to say it's just funny because, like, to you, it seems like the worst thing in the world. It's so scary, and to us, it's just like we need our guns like we need our air, bro.
Yeah.
But then you can say like Japan needs their CP like we need our guns. It's fucked up to say. It's definitely not true, but it's like, bro, the world is weird, and I think it's just like thing with like the internet nowadays, because like this was not a thing anyone could discuss like 20 years ago. You and I would not be fucking talking without the fucking internet right now.
Nope.
But I think there's like I think there's like a lot of this thing where people are super against like globalization, but like it's getting to the point there's like a lot of people, it's happening slowly, but people's values are starting to like be the same all over the place. You're always gonna have your crazy Westerners attacking people for like drawing young, like lolly characters, and you're going to have your I'm trying to think of other examples, but no, that's like the best one I have off the top of my head. But basically, you're gonna have like all these people crossing cultural barriers because your values don't align.
Yeah.
And eventually, everyone's gonna go to the point where like we're all gonna have the same thing. It might not happen in our lifetime, but it might happen eventually. Which is a weird thing to think about.
I legit don't hope so, because I like how different we are. Like, again, when I mentioned, oh yeah, I had girlfriends and was drinking beer at the age of 12, and when you tell someone from America that, they're like, what the fuck is going on in Denmark?
Exactly.
And then like,
but then we tell you about the guns, and you're like, what the fuck is going on in America?
And then Luke McKay goes, in Canada, we let our kids play ice hockey at 5 years old. And like, what the fuck is going on in Canada?
Right over there. Like, it's gotta get to a point where you gotta like sit back and like being exposed to so many different cultures, and like you're gonna run into things that are gonna make you feel very fucking uncomfortable.
Yep.
And because they're like a mortal grave sin in our place, in the place where we live and grow up in, does that give us the right to attack them for whatever the fuck they're doing? Because obviously they still got their crime. Like, we've all got a general idea of what crimes are. Like, we got a general idea of like, hey, don't kill anybody, don't rape anybody, don't fucking drug cheat teenagers. But it's like, the way every different like country and culture like does it is like does in very different degrees. It's weird and fascinating, but who gets to be the arbiter of deciding who's right and wrong? Sorry, my OnlyFans when I was 17 back in the day, that was normal.
Luke, you're old as shit. No way that OnlyFans existed when you were 17.
You know what?
I'm gonna call you out right away.
Fucking well, I guess we can talk about that then.
Yeah, so in case you have been living under a rock, OnlyFans decided, hey, we don't want any explicit sexual content on our platform starting October. And that kind of set the... in the 90s, we did our OnlyFans by mail. Just sent a fucking photograph and shit. But yeah, so that happened, and a lot of people had a lot of different opinions about it. My favorite one is still the fucking guy who streams fucking video games and said, "Time for you fucks to get a real job." And it's like, you're fucking, like, you're making a living off of playing video games.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you in any position to say that this is not real work?
It reminds me of that time Ninjas said, "Oh, like football's the easiest fucking sport to do."
Yes!
But Fortnite is so physically intensive. Only the best of the best can play Fortnite.
Listen, why do they even bother recruiting people who can't even kick ball good? Kick ball good is easy. I play gun game. I shoot bang bang. Very difficult. Kick ball. Easy. Like, it was the most fucking, like, dumb fucking argument I ever heard. But yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so like, in case you haven't heard today, the OnlyFans finally like backpedaled on that, and they're gonna allow porn again.
For now.
Like, yeah, for now. So if you have an OnlyFans and you're listening to this, please, I beg you, go to looking to other sources and be mindful of what's going on.
And do send you nudes. I will rate them on a scale from 1 to 10.
please don't. I actually have to check the email.
Especially if you're a big bear guy, then by all means send them and write something to Cloudy in them. I'm sure he will love it.
It's not even that. I have to sift through to find the questions.
Yeah, that's fine. Then you every now and again you'll have a big fucking bear cock.
Oh lordy. But like going back, this kind of it's a big fuck thing because I didn't do too much research into this. I'm sorry, just because like I only found out about this like at the last fucking second. But apparently this whole mandate happened because of like MasterCard of all things, because they're starting to do like cracking down on porn things like, oh, if you want us on your platform, you cannot have any porn, which only makes me think that like. If the banks are starting to decide what is more, like they're being the moral arbiters of what is okay and what isn't okay, the banks are the people who hold your money are now deciding what you're allowed to use it on. I can understand that when it came to things illegal like drugs and like illegal firearms, you can't this is why people went on Silk Road for a reason. But it's like,
please don't buy your illegal anthrax with MasterCard. Can you imagine, like, you're going out and be like, oh, hand grenades, AK-47s, yeah, put it on my card.
I mean, you can do that in America if you got...
Three-fourths through that fucking joke, I realize that's a thing in America, but we're gonna continue anyway.
But no, it's like... Oh, fuck, I was gonna say a tank, but you can actually buy a tank.
You can fucking buy a tank in America. You can buy anything in America with a MasterCard. So why the fuck is porn?
You can't No. Oh. You can't buy alcohol and you can't buy Kinder Eggs.
No, Kinder Eggs are fucked up, bro. but like, so how can... Again, you can buy a fucking tank with MasterCards, but you cannot buy pictures of a girl with her tits out.
It is hilariously disgusting. And, like, I think this also goes down to, like, should this exist or not? And I say, wholeheartedly, yes. Even if you like wanking it to, like, Shadman's bullshit, like, do you. Like, yeah. the way OnlyFans is set up, they actually, like, make you give proof of identification to prove that you're 18 to make an OnlyFans. You can't just, like... It's not like with the Pornhub thing where they didn't do a check. It was a free to make an account. And you have... Like, now they made it so you have to be verified to, like, post there. Mm. Which... But, like... If you find CP, that is, like... Well, one, that is entirely on the offense of the person uploading it, and they need to be rated immediately.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a problem of the platform itself. But, like, the fact that they try to do these broad strokes things, like, it happened with Tumblr, it happened with Pornhub, it happened with OnlyFans. Like, there's a market for a fucking reason. Sometimes people just want to get a really good sad wink going on. Maybe life sucks. Maybe they just want to see some big mommy milkies. Who cares?
Maybe even better, you want a bad sad wank. Those are the best.
Bad sad!
But speaking about that whole like CP thing, did you fucking see the post that a dude put up about, hey, if you search for this shit on Pornhub, you'll get this message? Did you see that one?
Yeah, and it's like
that was the funny so for anyone who don't know, there was a dude who put out a tweet being like, hey, if you search for and this illegal tag and this illegal tag, this message is gonna come up saying that, hey, we don't support that here on Pornhub. And everyone in the mom was just like, why the fuck did you search for that? Like, how the fuck did you find that out?
You could have prefaced this as like, I wanted to make sure they were doing their due diligence, because that's probably what they were thinking in their head. It's like, good, we're policing the Pornhub. We're making them listen to us. They're finally maybe doing something good. That's probably the shit that was going through their head. And then they just put it out like there, and then everyone in the mother's like, bro, what the fuck?
Bro, what are you doing, bro?
It's like, no, like, are you a pedo? It's like, no. Oh god, I'm like imagining like the soy jack thing, where he's like screaming, "No, I'm not a pedo. Pornhub is. We're trying to police them. We're doing a good thing."
But yeah. Now if you are on OnlyFans, you don't have to worry, but it is still advisable to go and check out alternatives, because there are now very, very clear signs that they're trying to take the same route as Tumblr, where they let everyone who makes all of the porn do all the heavy lifting, and then once they can sell it for a 6-digit number, they're gonna kick you guys out and pretend like, oh, it's always been about this other thing, which it hasn't. Like, who the fuck actually uses OnlyFans to be like, hey, do you want to see my go-kart? Like, no!
Okay, so here's my thing. Because I'm waiting for, like, the Twitter porn exodus to happen. Because with Twitter, they have openly defended pedophiles, zoophiles, the most horrible scum in the world. And when this shit was happening. And this is becoming a trend. People are doing this. I want you to imagine the size and the outrage and the backlash of the Twitter exodus for, like, not safe for work accounts. Because I guarantee you, there's still going to be the people who are posting CP and zoophiles there out of fucking spite. Yeah. Because the people who run Twitter show that they will defend them.
I think if Twitter ever decides to ban, like, not safe for work stuff or whatever, half of my Twitter feed is just gonna disappear.
Like, I'll probably leave in general, because that'll just be a good reason to leave, because everyone needs a reason to leave Twitter. I didn't go for a week, and it was great for my mental health. But oh my god, just I honestly don't understand because it's like the most vanilla shit. They do it in the name of, like, distracting CP, and here you are being like, well, what does weird pinup lady got to do with it? What do the people who, like, actually do, like, croquis and like basic art drawing in the nude for poses and shit, what do they got to do with CP, huh?
No, shut up, though. We're gonna ban that while a little infant is being penetrated on this picture right over here. But that's not our problem. That is whatever.
Like, it's a whole bunch of fuck, my buddy. It's a whole bunch of fuck, my guy. And I don't understand why they're being so much like this. Like why the whole broad stroke just kill everything, get rid of all their livelihoods. Like, if someone has to make a livelihood making, like, lewd art or, like, lewd pictures, who the fuck cares?
Yeah,
you don't like them, don't give them. Like they're 18, they're actually legal. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. Like, if you find CP, fucking, like, destroy their living.
Yeah. Because
that's actually illegal. But, like, porn, like the act of consent or, like, promiscuity is not exactly illegal. Unless are you trying to count it as prostitution? Get the fuck out of here. Are you really actually saying that? Is that the line we're going? Because that's retarded. That's stupid. I have to cut that out. I'm gonna...
Oh no! You said the naughty word.
I said the naughty word.
Well,
I'm trying to.
I was listening to the former podcast, and I was just, like, stopping up while I was up walking, and then I heard, and because at one point you just went beep Walden. I'm like, the cloud just say that. Okay. Don't go find that, by the way. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird that people are allowed to have the opinion. I'm just like, again, I think I mentioned it in the podcast where we had Amokin on, where I said that I can barely figure out my fucking own life. How the fuck do people have like the energy and time to worry about everyone else's? Like there was so like when this whole OnlyFans thing kicked in, everyone was just like, "Lol, now they can finally get a proper job," and it's like,
bro,
I get that. Oh no, it's quote unquote easy money because like I do think that there's a lot of effort going into like I work with Photoshop on a daily basis. I know how much work it goes into making stuff look pretty and all that stuff, but it's not a 9 to 5, and I think we can all agree to that. But it's like that doesn't disqualify it from being honest work. The fact that you just happen to be a model and you happen to show off your shit, that's as much as a work as any other. I don't get where it's like, oh no, it has to adhere to these rules that I have set up of what a real work is. Like, do they make money? Do they pay taxes? Yes, then shut the fuck up. Like, what? Why do we have to have like these rules? Well, not rules is wrong word. Like, why do we have to have these templates that determines this is a word? These are the shapes that the square peg has to go into. Like, if they make money and if they pay rent and if they pay taxes, like, why the fuck do you care?
Like, that's the mentality I hate the most out of anything, because it is the most entitled bitch ass thing I've ever fucking heard. Because like it's the same thing when you have people who are complaining about wanting to raise the minimum wage, who don't want to work in Burger King and Starbucks, and they said, "Oh, get a real job, you fucking." But you're gonna get pissed off if you're not gonna get your fucking like cafe macchiato or your fucking hamburger like given to you within like 10 fucking minutes. It's like, this is a fucking outrage. Why the fuck aren't anyone? Like, and then you're gonna see them like complain that there's no fucking porn on the internet. You got what the fuck you wanted, and it's gonna be like, oh man, why can't I get my nudie pics? This is an outrage. Things like this make people go angry and abusive and blah blah blah. And it's just this whole thing where you think you're on a fucking high horse just because, I'm probably making money. I can feel good about what I'm doing, but all you people are beneath me. And then suddenly they're not there anymore, and then you're at the bottom of the fucking totem pole, and it's like, this sucks! Good for you.
Yeah, like...
You deserve it.
Yeah. Like, I was dunking on the dude earlier who was like, oh my god, now it's time for you fucks to really get a real job. And I'm not dunking on like on the whole thing of like let me rephrase that. What I'm dunking on in that case is that he is in a position where he plays video games for a living, which again, do you make money? Do you pay taxes? Do you make rent? Then it's a job. And that is perfectly fine. The issue that I had with him was just that he's in a very similar position, and then find himself to be I'm better than you. Like, fuck off, kid. I think where I'm having issues is that where I'm part of a Facebook group where for Danish YouTubers and streamers, which I got into because a friend of mine was like, hey, maybe you can sell some freelance work here because people need emotes and all this stuff. And I never bothered to leave because it's a never-ending source of entertainment because of how cringe some of the shit in there is. But I think where I'm having issues is like when someone is like, hey, I streamed for 4 people and none of them donated, and I can't make rent, so I have to ask for donations or something. Like basically doing what Christine Weston Chandler did, where it's like, where yes, they make money, but just barely, and it's always coming off of begging and stuff. Like, if you don't do it, if you just get money just for existing, then yes, I would maybe argue that is not a job. But again, I think that people are grossly misunderstanding how much work actually goes into, say, let's say, okay, let's be crude. Let's say that you are having a porn shoot with you and a girl in it. You have to have proper lighting. You have to make sure, and then you take all the photos. You're having two subjects. It's if anyone who's ever worked in filming or photographing or anything, everyone who does that knows that it's hard enough to work with one subject. Now you have two. All of a sudden, this is twice as hard. Then you have to make sure that everyone one subject one is in like proper shooting mode, like when they're doing everything they need to do. Subject 2 also needs to be in proper shooting mode, like where they do whatever they have to do. And then then you take the photo, then you take it into Photoshop, and then you touch it up. You remove blemishes, you remove wrinkles, you remove all this stuff. You make sure that everything that should be in focus is in focus. You probably blur out some things in the background because you can't have like a Pepsi Cola thing laying in the background.
Yeah.
So you have to blur that out, but you have to blur it out in a way so it's not like super like noticeable. Then you have to make sure that it's a high enough high quality so people can really see what's going on, but you don't want too high quality so people can see the disappointment in your face or whatever the fuck. Like, and that is one photo. Imagine if you didn't have to have a video or an entire photo set. And you probably also have a photographer who has to help with all these things, because you will have to be fucking a pro to do this on your own. So people just think that, like, say when I can't think of a model on top of my head. Let's say they're a gorgeous model, take some pictures of her doing her thing, and then it gets thrown up online. People I think a lot of people think that, that's just how it naturally came out. No, motherfucker.
It's never that easy.
Everyone and their fucking mom does touch-ups. And there's nothing wrong with doing touch-ups. I think that like, I've reached a point in my life where it's like, when I see a model or something on a magazine cover or something, I think that that if she's like super gorgeous and stuff, I think that's both impressive that, she looks like the way that she does. But I also think that it's impressive that the person who did the touch-up in Photoshop or whatever did such a banging good job at making it seem seamless. I think we reached a point in time now where any sort of modeling is a two-part job, where half of it is the model, half of it is the person who edits the pictures or video. And I think like that makes it even more impressive. So yeah, it's very much a job, and I just don't think that people know how much actually goes into making these things happen.
And like the one thing I do want to point out for like the people who are actually doing it, they're always looked down upon, and you think that's not a big thing, but you always get like two kinds of detractors. You get like the ones you see right now who say, one, it's not a real job, heard it or get a real job, like. But then you also get like the people you don't see, that only like the people doing this see, and they're like the creeps, the one who go into the DMs, who act weirdly possessive because they got to wink to you one time, and they are like, the ones who actually should be on an FBI watch list half the time.
Yeah.
But you have to smile and wave and just get the money from them. Like not everyone's a popular game streamer and have like a sea of children to fiddle to get their sexual rocks off. Cough, cough, that one Fortnite streamer with the pink beard.
The one with the hair?
Yeah.
The one that people showed pictures of and like, really? This person is a pedophile? I would never have known.
Basically, yeah. It's like not everyone's in that holy experience, so if you got rid of all the porn stars, you could just go to your children audience. I will say that
like if you want to, I don't personally support OnlyFans people on there, not because I don't want to, just because like I don't have an interest in it, but you go girl or guy or whatever the fuck, but I will say I do have an issue with, say, some Twitch streamers who have like who condone people to donate like $1,000 to them, and we're like, oh my god, Jeffrey, you donated $1,000, you have to sleep on the street now. Oh my god, you're such a super fan, and then like the twerk or something. I have a problem with that because like at that point you're these people are not right in the fucking head. Oh, they're very lonely or something. Like, you don't give for fucking $1,000 for this type of shit. You as a creator, you should like be in a like. It's kind of on you to make sure that they don't fucking bankrupt themselves. Like, if I ever received a donation of $1,000, chances are I would probably reach out to the person and be like, "Hey, bro, are you fucking okay? Because this is not right." So it's exactly what, like how you say how the whole thing of like being possessed is like, actually Pokimane is my girlfriend. Like, fuck off.
Oh god, I remember like the banned words in her server, which is like Pokimane has a boyfriend.
Yeah,
it's like half the tags on there, and I'm like, it goes back to that whole parasocial relationship thing.
Yeah,
where like they imagine a relationship, they imagine that being a part of this thing is like, oh, we have a special connection, when really that you don't. You'll never will, because like you don't know them personally as a person, and it's like. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think like that's one of the, like, I don't like Pokimane. Her content is not for me, but what I really don't like is that is like you say, Pokimane has a boyfriend. Like, you're not even allowed to say that because she knows. She may play up that she doesn't know, but she knows that the vast majority of the money that she makes comes from people who has this idea that if I pay enough money, maybe she will smell my dick. And so like and so she prevents people from saying that she already has a partner or anything, because once people know that, oh, she's already spoken for, then there's no room for her to smell my dick. And I think like that's nefarious. I think that's like you're preying on people who are lonely and sad and who just wants to fucking like get this affection for this person that they watch. Yeah. Play with open cards. It's predatory, I think. It's like if you say, hey, I have a boyfriend, it's really nice that you guys are still like finding me attractive and everything, but you know, spoken for, let's keep it chill. But she doesn't do that. It's very much, oh, you want to smell my feet? Oh my god, you creepy guy! Get the fuck out of here! Let's time him out. Oh, he donated $50. I'm still gonna take that. Like, I have problems with that.
I understand like the hustle, but I'm like, what gives you the right to say that like that kind of like giving your money away and not just like buying a fucking nudie?
Yeah,
like like is it because Pokimane wears clothes? Is because like the fantasy of her taking it off and that weird emotional manipulation she has over you, that whole just because but if I give her enough, maybe I'll see le tete. Yeah, is that enough? Is that enough of a justification for you to look over someone who's actually doing it for a living, but you'd still look down on them for that? It's fucked up.
And people are obviously like more than free to spend the money on anything that they want. And ultimately, me saying that I don't like this thing, that is just like me coming from the stance that I'm used to. Like I have a moral compass pointing this way, and they might have a moral compass pointing that way. It's one of those things where it's not like, some people might justify it, some people might not. I'm in the camp of I don't. Where like like you should know this better than anyone actually. Like, how many times have you almost had to twist my arm to make me finally do a fucking GoFundMe? You have suggested I do that multiple times, and it wasn't until my computer fucking broke down that I actually had to like bite the bullet and actually do it, because I feel it's fucking weird. I feel like, and you know, it's one thing to you know, receive Patreon money and all that stuff, but then like to go out and be like, hey, give me big money. It's like, I think it's fucked up. And then like to prey on people's like sadness or loneliness or something. Obviously, they are more than free to spend the money on whatever the fuck they want, but they're doing it on the pretense. Like you said, maybe I'll get to see Letiti. Maybe I will get to get a personal call with this person so I can feel like someone actually likes me or something. And they know this. The people like the people who are streaming and doing this, they know that they have this effect on people. They just don't care. Or maybe they do care, and they care in the wrong way, being that that's how it goes. That's what makes me money. And like, I can't.
Like it's that whole hustle thing where it's like, I don't want to, like, you found a niche and you're doing it, and you know what? Whatever. Like, you're manipulating all these people to pay money from you. Who am I to judge when every other like bigger game industry has probably done the same one way or another?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me if it's like trying to hit that gambling itch with like loot crates or like gacha, or you're trying to like attack to people's loneliness and you're like doing these streams and like getting the simps. Maybe you're like you're Christian and you're preying on people's like pity over you.
Yeah.
And you're getting money that way. It's gross, but like, what the fuck am I supposed to do about it? Like, I guess like at the end of the day, you want to fuck yourself up, go ahead. But like, what right do you have to be like, this doesn't need to exist? Like, I'm talking about like when it comes to things like people who are actually working their asses off trying to make a living, people who actually have to put up with worse shit than you ever could imagine, when like have to deal with like bouts of their own depression, and then you go up to them, you're gonna fucking tell them you don't have a right to make any of the money you make, while they go back and spend all like thousands of dollars on fucking Pokemon, on fucking whatever Twitch streamer hits their kink at that moment.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important to stress it. Like, it's not just Pokemon. Don't get it twisted. We're not just like attacking her. It's just like, that's the one I just came up with. But yeah, there's plenty of other streamers who does this in some shape or form.
I'm more mad that that people are attacking these sources of revenue when like we're all just trying to fucking make a living at the end of the day. Like don't discredit the people who actually have to make porn for a living. People who have to do like art commissions for like drawing loot stuff. It's a meme that like, oh, just give money to the furry artist. That's fucking hard to do, because then you have to deal with a lot of fucking shit. You have to like compromise what you're willing to draw or not. And usually, like, some customers are either really snappy, they keep constantly changing, or you could possibly get scammed out of, like, you spent all this time working on the piece when you could have been doing other stuff, and they take your money anyway. Yeah. And the piece. And it's like, they have more risk doing this shit than you have to. So, lay off the people. Like, you know, just let people get their fucking money.
Yeah. Get them paper.
Yeah. I can make a argument saying, like, you know, like people like Christian, like Twitch streamers and like EA, for example, like they have their own predatory practices. Those are wrong for a very explicit reason. But why are you lumping in them with like the people who are not actually hurting anybody? Yeah. Yeah, there's like no point to do that. Like, why are you gonna pull a gun on a guy behind the McDonald's counter because you're having a bad day? Because I remember that shit happened in a McDonald's parking lot in like during the pandemic. Like, a worker told them to like they have to eat outside and they got shot.
What?
Yeah, that happened in America, like in the middle of the pandemic last year.
Why?
Because they They want to eat indoors, Lasse. You don't deserve to live because you told me to wear a mask.
So they shot someone.
Yeah, with their gun.
Oh, with the gun, not with the blaster.
No, without the laser blaster, with the Glock.
With the blicky.
With the blicky.
I shouldn't laugh at that. Sorry.
No, it's fine, but no, that's the kind of entitlement I'm talking about.
It's fucked up.
The fact it is fucked up. It's like the fact they have this whole mentality that they like, oh, I pay my taxes, you all are servants under me. How dare you make me change my lifestyle? Goodbye. That's like the mentality I put in when people talk like that, where they say, no, you're not allowed to. I decide what's allowed to live. Well, I decide who's allowed to make money. What you do, you don't deserve it, but I do. Oh, you want me to do something else? Goodbye.
Because I'm the king and queen of cheese.
King and queen of cheese. But yeah, no, that's just the thing. It's like that kind of entitlement is just the grossest thing to me.
Yeah.
Like you do like it. I don't. No matter who you are, you do not have the entitlement to decide whether or not someone else is allowed to exist. This goes back to like issues for like LGBTQ and like when they were forced to hide it. Like this is a new thing where they're allowed to exist and they're allowed to have rights now. And like, who are you to deny other people's right to exist? Who are you to deny other people's art to exist because it makes you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
That is like the same shit people who are gay, who are black, who are Hispanic, like who are like fucking going like Puritans back in the England or whatever, who left England, they felt persecuted. Why are we perpetuating this? It doesn't need to happen. Shit got deep.
Yeah.
Get fucked. You got anything to comment on that? Because I went on a thing.
No, I think it's something up pretty good. I think, long story short, that a lot more goes into porn and modeling than you might just think. So it is totally a job. Support those people. Don't donate your entire life savings to titty streamers, or do. I'm not your mom. That's basically where I think that we should end that one and go immediately into the emails.
Questions. Okay.
That was sent to
Webcast Relief at gmail.com.
So webcastrelief at gmail.com.
Yes. Okay. All right. First up we got is a question from Why Not. They say, feel free to make your answer a serious one or a joke. Either is fine. It's the zombie apocalypse. You only get to use one weapon from any movie, show, book, comic, what have you against the zombies. This weapon cannot be made up by you. It has to be a weapon you can hold, so no vehicles, super weapons, characters, people, or animals, or body parts. The only exception is the character or animal can turn into a handheld weapon, so like Soul Eater or Boyfriend Dungeon. What do you choose? Example, Captain America's shield, Demo Man's grenade launchers, Ruby's gun scythe, G1 Megatron. I see what you did there. Because G1 Megatron turned into a gun. Oh. So, zombie apocalypse. How do you arm yourself?
I think just a crowbar. Because people are always, I'm gonna get a katana, and like, do you know how fucking quick that thing will dull? Like,
well, true. But at the same time, it could be from any show, movie, book, or whatever.
Yeah, but a crowbar will do you good. You can fucking kill someone damn fucking easy with a crowbar, and you can use it to break into houses.
You know what? Fair. I think Gordon Freeman's like showed how effective a crowbar could be.
And he just fucking did this. He didn't even fucking swing it. He punched with it.
Oh, it was great. See, that's like a thing with the zombie apocalypse. You want something with like infinite ammo, so preferably like melee. But like you also want something that's also going to be effective and quick, and like trying to think of like stuff. I'm going to say like I guess like a Sunblade from Dungeons and Dragons, because it's essentially a lightsaber with infinite energy that's just recharged by the sun, and it does extra damage to zombies and purifies the area. So it's just like I don't have to sharpen it. I just got a point, and boom, they're dead.
I don't think I would be able to use that in Denmark because the sun is never out.
Well, I ain't going to Denmark then. God, if I go to like Arizona or Texas, that thing will be like just. I'll have the power of God in my hand. There's never a cloud in the south.
You will literally have the power of God and anime on your side.
Basically. So yeah, Sunblade for me, Crowbar for Lasse.
I always like if there's one thing I've discovered during these questions is that you and everyone else are way more creative than I am.
Well, you're very practical because, like, a crowbar you can do a lot of shit, and is actually in the real zombie apocalypse. If I didn't have the option for like fantasy bullshit, like you'd have like the definitively good answer. But anyway, we have a serious question from Shiza. He says, how do you deal with working with someone you hate, dislike with mutuals? Being on an art stream / podcast / collab that involves someone who you hate or hates your guts. On the flip side, how do you deal with interacting with someone you have some respect or adoration for? Ooh. I think you and I can both think of an example.
So, I'm not a big fan of this creator called Bonitis. And I remember there was this one stream on the Dreamkeeper server where I was invited in to come speak about like writing and stuff like that. And I come in and we shoot the shit, and everyone there is very friendly, courteous, give me ample of time to speak, and everything is great. And then Bonitis comes, and if there's one thing that you quickly realize about Bonitis is that Bonitis really likes to hear himself talk. He never shuts the fuck up. And that, that's fine. It is what it is. And then at one point, he starts going on about how, like, everything that people always come up to me and ask, hey, how do I become a good artist? And I always just tell them, just draw. There, you did it. Now you're a great artist. And at that point, I kind of had to, like step in and be like, hey, no, I disagree, because whenever someone first starts drawing, you're not a fucking great artist. The stuff you make is probably gonna look like ass. And if you give people like the idea that, hey, it's normal that if you just start drawing, it's gonna look great, then you're gonna give them false assumptions, and then they're probably gonna lose the drive to continue doing art, or like they might not understand the hustle that actually goes in to become good at making art. Because I've noticed that a lot of people just assume that, oh, I can't do art, guess it's not for me. No, you have to fucking just stick with it and just keep working.
It's
and so I addressed this, and then Bone answers. I don't recall what exactly it is that he answers with, but basically he disregards my point, which is fair. What I say is not the universal truth, but then I kind of like counter hit him by saying, well, like you can say that like Las Lindas, which was like the big thing at the time, like they probably thought that they were doing a good job when they started working on that comic, when instead they should probably have researched how to write and stuff like that before they actually started making it. And then like Bonitis started defending Las Lindas, saying that it was great and all this shit, which you're free to think, but I disagree. But basically, I didn't have like a good experience with Bone, and then on different stream I was also invited in with, and I figured, and Bonitis joined again, and again it was hard to get a word in edgewise, because again this man likes to hear himself talk, and I figured, you know what, it didn't really go that well last time. So I figured, hey, why don't I try and bury the hatchet? Like, let's start over. Let's be friends. There's no reason why we can't be, like on good terms. So I'm like, hey man, last time we talked, I kind of called you out a little bit on this thing. I would just like to apologize. And he's like, who are you? Which, again, it's fair. You don't have to remember me. I'm just a dude on the internet, same as you. Person who claims to be the best furry artist in the world. And like he completely disregarded my attempt to like bury the hatchet and try to like be, I think the English word is amicable, like being, like not on friendly terms, but being on, neutral ground. And I still had to, like I was doing this for David and Liz because like at the time they were doing some kind of big project, so I kind of had to stay there. And I feel like the best thing you can do is just like either pretend that the person is not there, or just like let whatever happens wash over you. Because for a thing like this, like had it been my stream or something, I like it would be like I would kind of set the agenda so I could call him out if I wanted to, or have this discussion. But seeing that this was not my stream, this was something I helped do for someone else who were doing this for a different reason. I'm not gonna fucking derail that entire thing by having a huge discussion. So if you're in one of those circumstances, I would probably just say, just let it wash over you, and like make that show as good as you can, and then you can have your little like disputes or whatever the fuck off camera. There's no reason why you should drag the entire show down or interactions, because no one wants to see that. And I would have wished that we had a talk about that, but instead, Bonitas went on to talk shit about me behind my back because he didn't apparently have the stones to say it to my face. How about you, Cloudy?
Okay. For somebody I don't deal with it, I think like the best advice I can give is just grin and bear it, because if the thing has to have both of you, there's no sense in letting the thing happen that has to happen, go sour. There's no need to have a fight. So I always think it's better to be the bigger man. I had a okay, I'm gonna be very general because this actually delves on serious topics. There is a person who I had to work with very lightly, who let's just say I have various problems with them. But anyway, they were I was dragged into a group with them that's gone now, that everything got privated because it all went to shit. But they had a very good how do I put this? They were the type to want to make like accusations, and you know what? For at the beginning, they probably were true, but they would take those like horrible accusations and attach them to every other person they didn't like, and they were in like a pretty high position where to question them would be a very bad look for you. Not because of just their position, but also because supposedly they were a victim of said circumstances.
Oof.
Yeah. So it was kind of like a catch-22 being next to them. And there was a point where I was just like, I was going to try to be a mediator, try to listen to every side, try to understand what's going on. But it got to a point where you listen and you find out that like what they're doing is wrong, and I get called out on them, and I get like, and then like everyone in the group turns on me for speaking my mind, and I'm like, I can't be a part of this. I can't be a part of this in good faith. So I leave, and that's just something I have to do. Like, I never tried assaulting them to their face. I do my best not to speak their name because I don't want people coming after them. I'm just going to say, stay for what you think you can handle. And if it gets to a point where someone's like, I don't want to be with this person, being with them is actually making me physically uncomfortable, physically angry, leave.
Yeah.
Just
say,
leave.
hey, that's it for me. Thank you for this, and then leave.
Yeah. That's like the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
The absolute best thing you can do.
Because you don't owe it to anyone to stick around or anything. But the best thing you always be not always. This is coming from a person who is very much like conflict shy is the way we say it in Danish. I don't know what the English term is, but like if you don't want to piss anyone off, the best thing you can do is just like pardon yourself, going, okay, I'm a dip. You guys take care. And then leave. Don't fucking like, hey, you guys, but you assholes, fuck you, suck my dick, and then leave. Like, no, like why do that?
Always be courteous. Always be like, give the respect. Don't stoop to their level. Just, it's okay to walk away if it's actually going to deal with you. If it's like a situation where you're locked in a room with them, grin your teeth and bear it, and then hope you never have to deal with it again. But if it's like just a one-off stream or like a one-off podcast, or like if it's like a group, just like take a step back and be like, you know what, I don't want any part of this. Thank you for everything, but I can't be here, and then just leave.
Yeah,
it's fine. If they want to like go back to you in a little bit, if they want to like catch up with you after, that's fine. It's on them. But like, you don't owe them anything.
Yeah, and this is obviously like going off as if like you're in a position where you have to perform. So be it at work or doing like a live stream or something, as you said. But I'm of the opinion that the best thing you can do is grab a bull by the horns. So like if you have beef with someone, like legit beef, and you can tell that this is someone that I have to deal with on a longer like multiple times, then grab them and then like sit down with a beer or whatever and be like, hey man, can we talk? And just air your grievances in a constructive manner. Don't just go, why are you the way that you are? But like go, hey man, I don't appreciate that you do so and such. I would very much like if we could find a way to work around that, so that doesn't happen. If there's something that I can do to help make that happen, by all means. But yeah, let's make this work because we're in this together. As a former manager, I've had certain people that I couldn't work that well together with, and I would always I had this one place where they served great burgers and great beers, and I would always take them down there and be like, okay, listen, we have this issue. This is not great. What can we do? And like 9 times out of 10, it would always be, okay, listen, I didn't know this was an issue, or I just have a lot of shit going on right now, and I could really use some time for myself. Like I can't go into specifics, but I had a person who needed time for themselves. Then I gave them time off to deal with that, and when they came back, everything was fine and dandy. So a lot of times you have these conflicts because either you're not on the same level in terms of like what you want or of expectations, but also sometimes you just don't. The other person just straight up doesn't know how this affects you or how you feel or something. And most of the time, at least in my experience, it's not that they don't care; it's just that they don't know. I always have this quote that is, "Don't assume malice when ignorance will suffice." Yeah. And so if you have the chance, talk with them like in private, and just be like, play with open cards. Be like, I don't like this. Can we fix it? And obviously, like, tailor it to the circumstances. But that's my best suggestion.
Yeah. Like, I guess this is also rich coming from me, because there are times where I try talking to somebody and we don't really get anywhere, and there's times where just ban somebody from the Webcast Relief Discord just because I'm sitting on so much shit, and like I know them being around is just an awful thing. Sometimes you just gotta make that call.
Oh yeah,
you
absolutely.
Gotta look at what's in front of you. Yeah.
But I would say, like, as a rule of thumb, try and work it out.
Yeah, that's always the best thing. Who knows? You might get a new friend out of it.
Who knows?
Okay, I'll put my own dirty laundry up on right now. A long time ago, when I first modded the server, I used to like despise one certain member of them, Nana, because I didn't like their attitude with the way they posted art, and it got to a point where like I was really rude to them in the server, like, and just like accused them of some bad things. And then a couple of years goes by, and like I see them improve in not only their art but their attitude as well. They're like fitting in, and like I actually go up to them. Like I didn't realize Nana blocked me at the time, and which was completely fair after my fucking attitude. But like I actually wrote up a whole ass letter of apology, just saying how like I was wrong. Like, you know what? Like, hey, can we make something up out of this? And then now we're pretty good friends now. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's not always going to happen, but it's like, it's a really good feeling to be like, man, you know what? I didn't understand this. Maybe I should have listened to you better. Maybe we could have talked this out and if I would have been more mature, things could have been better. And you know what? We all made it up at the end, and that's good.
Yeah.
Avoid being me. Avoid being rude when you don't have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Cloudy must be a thundercloud on the Discord on times to get the best of up. Yeah, a little bit.
God bless.
Strike with the lightning of soups.
The might of soups! Boom! And also like to quickly wrap up to like, because like there was a second part to this question.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, how do you deal with interacting with someone you have respect or adoration for? And I'm gonna be straight up a simp. I cannot control it. I'm a fanboy.
When I had to interview Jay, Odin, Luke, and Emily, not as much Emily because we've already talked a lot with him, but with her. But when I first had to talk with Luke McKay and Jay Odin, I was like, fuck me, because like I look up to these people. And I'm in this weird position where I get to talk a lot with people who look up to me, and I look up to them. So it's like this kind of weird thing. But once you start talking with them and you realize they're just like normal people, I just like to talk to them like if we've been friends for the longest time, while still remaining courteous, because like this is the first time we're really speaking. For example, when I was doing my interview with Luke, there were several times where we were speaking past each other, and I was just like, this is gonna go fine because I look up to this guy. But whereas if it had been a friend, I'd be like, no, you're off track now. I meant this. But honestly, like everyone is a person just like you. Yeah. I had the pleasure of meeting Matt McMuscles from the Super Best Friends when I went to Evo that one time. That was actually a not very nice experience.
Oh,
because because I was like, hey man, remember how you mentioned that thing in your Silent Hill video where you talked about Nick Simmons' son who traced Bleach? Yeah, I actually made an entire video about that comic. And then it was like, oh, you're the guy. I'm like,
what?
Huh? And that was it. And then I got a photo with him, and it was gone. And like, and I think like that kind of helped me go, yeah, you know what? Everyone's just a person. Everyone has the thing, and sometimes they're not as great as you think, and sometimes they're just as cool as you think. But don't put them on a pedestal. They are living, breathing human beings just like the rest of you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Lasse, remember when you and I first met?
And we just started talking about JoJo?
Yeah. Like, I was gonna be like, hey, I have this story but like, do you like JoJo? And it was like, yeah. No, I think you asked me about JoJo, and then we were just like,
I think you made
gushing.
I think you made a reference to JoJo. And I'm like, bro, you're into JoJo? And you're like, yeah, I'm into JoJo.
Yeah. Oh God, it was just. Sometimes, I did admire you like a lot, and I still do because you're still a fucking cool guy.
Oh, thank you.
But it's like I think like I had like my initial moment of simp, but then like after we got talking, we both realized we're both fucking awesome because we both like JoJo.
Yeah. I actually like on the reverse. I've actually had like through doing this YouTube stuff, I've had people like reach out to me, as I hate to use the word, but fans, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're so this or that or whatever the fuck," and it's like I think we even like touched on it earlier, where it's like, don't fucking come to me for advice, like I'm not clever or anything, but people are like, "Oh my god, you're so good at this thing," and like, no, I'm just a fucking dude. I'm literally just a guy, and so everyone who's like, when they first talk with me, they like treat me with some kind of reverence. I'm like, dude, you can call me a fucking asshole. Like there's no like. I'm just a fucking guy. Don't fucking treat me like I'm some kind of king or anything. It's weird. I don't like it.
I get it. It's weird to have that because then like that dives into like imposter syndrome, but also it's just we're all just people, dude.
Yeah,
we're all just guys and shit. Like you don't need to like glorify them to godhood. You just gotta be like, yo. Yeah, like JoJo.
Yeah, if you want to say hi to me, fucking say hi to me. It's not like I'm like, be gone, pissing. I don't have time for you. No, like, I'm a guy. I'm a guy like everyone else.
We're just dudes and shit, man. Yeah. Like we're just space dust floating in the infinite cosmos. Oh Oof. But yeah, treat people you don't like with respect and people you do like with respect. At the end of the day, it's all about respect. That's literally all you gotta do.
RESPECT. That is the way you want to be. Hip hop hippity. Okay.
Hip hop to down, stop the ride to the bang bang boogie play.
The boogie and the boogie. Anyway,
I only know that song because of Jackie Legs from that one. The one movie about the kangaroo.
Ah, shit, fuck. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody!
Bye!
And two small ones that I haven't forgotten. Sweets and loud music, and I don't lie with no child.